This is the Lenovo Yoga 7i. I think it's one of the best Windows laptops on the market. I've also got the Yoga 9i here, so we can see how they compare and how they both stack up.
I feel good, you look great, I like you, I can't wait, a first time, a first date.
I've already done a full review on the Yoga 9i. This video is going to be focused on the Yoga 7i. We're going to take a close look at it and see if it really does offer the best value in Lenovo's lineup. Starting off with the specs, this one's a 14-inch model. It's got the Core Ultra 7 155U processor, 16 gigabytes of RAM, and a 512 gig SSD. Comes with Windows 11 and a touchscreen. The battery is a 71 watt-hour battery, and we'll talk about the battery a bit more later because it's pretty impressive. And that screen is 1920 by 1200, so a little bit more than 1080p, with a refresh rate of 60 Hz. It's also got stereo speakers optimized with Dolby Atmos technology. As always, I'll cover what's good, what's not so good, and give you my final thoughts at the end, so stay tuned for that. Okay, right off the bat, the build quality is amazing. It feels extremely sturdy. It's got a nice, solid, heavy feeling to it, which is quite impressive. The hinges feel fantastic with that 360 hinge right there. It's very nice and solid on the table. It feels like those can be flipped time and time again without any sort of issues. Also, I do have a 2022 version of the Yoga 7 that my mom uses, and she's dropped it many times and there's been no issues, no damages, no cracks, maybe a couple scuffs here and there. So the build quality and durability of these Yogas is really impressive. The battery life is fantastic. That 71 watt-hour battery combined with the Core Ultra 7 chip gives this unit a real-world usage of about 10 hours, maybe even a little bit more. This is actually my girlfriend's laptop. She takes it to work with her and she uses it all day long and never needs to charge it. Even when she gets home, she still has maybe 20-30% battery life left. So it's very impressive to get a full day's work done without needing to charge the laptop at all. Really gives you peace of mind knowing you don't need to bring that charging brick with you. It's got solid speakers with the Dolby Atmos app that you can actually tweak the equalizer and get a little bit more out of those speakers. The screen is great. It's not an OLED screen, but it still looks very sharp, very vivid with nice colors. It does support Lenovo's pen input as well. Some models will come with the pen, some won't. If you do get a model that comes with the pen, it pairs up right away as long as the pen is charged. It's very nice and accurate to use. I do have the pen on my Yoga 9i. I don't personally use pens a lot, but for those of you who are artists or who are going to be taking a lot of notes, it can definitely come in handy. The touchscreen works great if you're a touchscreen user and you want to flip it into that tent mode and watch some movies. The keyboard is also quite nice and feels premium. However, when you use the Yoga 9i's keyboard, you'll definitely notice that it is a step above. These feel a little bit softer. They also have a curve to it as well. But the Yoga 7 keyboard is still great. The trackpad is large and smooth. The only downside is it does not click at the top. You'll have to just tap to click. It only clicks towards the lower half of the trackpad. So that's one complaint, but other than that, it works very well and it works great with the Windows gestures. Now, we use both our laptops in the power save mode all the time and they feel very snappy. However, if you want to turn the power save mode off and get the most performance out of the chip, it's actually quite an impressive chip as well. It's a really good balance of performance and battery life. I've got both laptops on battery power and set to their best performance modes. Let's run a Geekbench performance test and see what happens. So the Yoga 7 did 2300 single core and 9278 multi-core. The Yoga 9 did 2328 single core, so barely any better, and 11496 multi-core, which is quite disappointing. The Yoga 9 is supposed to be significantly faster. This is the high performance version. This is the ultra low power version. Single cores are almost identical and it's a little bit faster in multi-core, yet the Yoga 7 has massively better battery life. Honestly, that difference you're not going to notice in life. I'm not going to lie, I'm pretty disappointed because this is my Yoga 9i. I paid a lot more money for this one than we did for the Yoga 7. I really thought that was going to be a bigger difference. Okay, now I'm going to plug them both in and see if that changes things. I want to give the Yoga 9i a chance to redeem itself. And there's the results while plugged in, and it doesn't look like there's any sort of a significant difference there. Yoga 7 still did 2300, 9391. Yoga 9 2376 and 1174, so a few points higher. So there's good news and bad news. The bad news is that the Yoga 9 still is barely any faster than the Yoga 7, but the nice thing is that both laptops perform almost the same whether they're plugged in or on battery life, which is very impressive. Just a couple of years ago, that was not the case with Windows laptops. And lastly, I want to give the Yoga 9i one more chance to prove its value, at least when it comes to performance. Let's do a graphical test. Okay, and there we go. That's the difference I wanted to see. So the Yoga 7 does 18,000 and the Yoga 9 does 29, almost 30,000. So not quite double, but close to it. Good job, Yoga 9. So when it comes to graphic performance, that's where you're going to see the real big difference between the high performance chip and the ultra low power chip. You're getting almost double the graphical performance. And while this is not a gaming laptop, you can definitely get away with some light to medium gaming like 720p or 1080p with low to medium settings in most games. So if you're looking to get a laptop and gaming is not necessarily your priority, but you are a casual gamer, you may want to hop into a game here and there, it can definitely get the job done. On the left side, there's a headphone jack, two Thunderbolt 4 ports that are USB Type-C, and they will both charge the laptop, and a full-size HDMI port. On the right, we have the power button, a SD card slot, and a USB Type-A port. It's got a fingerprint reader to unlock the operating system, and a camera that does face unlock. It's got a privacy cover built in. You can see it's got a red dot, that means it's covered. If I slide the switch, now it's open. If you want to connect a display to both of them, you can get a USB-C to HDMI cable, but if you're in a pinch, the fact that the Yoga 7 has a full-size HDMI port is definitely a plus. The Yoga 9 has a slightly slimmer body, so that might be why Lenovo did not include the full-size HDMI port on the 9i. Okay, let's go through the downsides. When you use both laptops next to each other, you'll realize that the Yoga 9i is actually a little bit thinner and it's a bit lighter. While the Yoga 7 is definitely a sleek, nice design, it does feel a little bit heavier than the 9i, although that's not necessarily a bad thing because it does give it a very sturdy feeling when you're using it on a desk or if you're in that tent mode. You're not going to feel any wobble or flex in the chassis, but it is something to be noted that the 9i is definitely a little bit lighter. Another downside is the Yoga 7 does not have an OLED screen. While the screen is fantastic, when you look at them side by side with the Yoga 9, the OLED screen on the Yoga 9 is significantly sharper with much more vivid colors and a higher refresh rate. Both screens are set to full brightness and on the exact same default Lenovo wallpaper. Look at how much more vivid and brighter the colors are on the 9i compared to the 7i. Even if you look at the Lenovo logo, like look how that one looks kind of orange, and yet when you look at the 9i, it's a bright, vivid red. So the screen is probably one of the biggest differences that you'll notice right away. If you're not looking at the Yoga 9 beside it, it looks great. It's only when you compare it with the Yoga 9i that you can definitely see the limitations in that screen. But also an OLED screen with higher resolution will use more battery, so it's actually a good balance to have on the Yoga 7. The webcam is okay. It is a 1080p webcam, but I still do think it could be a little bit better. This is the camera and microphone test on the Lenovo Yoga 7i. Not a terrible camera, but not the best camera. I do think it could be better. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Also, the charging brick is larger than I would like. Both the laptops do actually come with this brick style charger and the power plug is separate. It's got the ground one, so it's a 3-prong, but we do prefer the smaller size one because it doesn't require the 3rd prong. You can fit this into a bag a little bit easier, and if you look at the actual specifications, it's identical to this one, and it's a factory Lenovo charger. Also, Lenovo hasn't put the Core Ultra Series 2 chips in either one of these laptops. They've only done it in the Yoga Slim line, which doesn't have the 360 hinge. If you want the touchscreen with 360 hinges, for now, they're only offering the Core Ultra Series 1 chips, so hopefully those will come soon. But the nice thing is the Series 1 chips already have pretty good battery life and excellent performance, and you'll most likely get a much better deal on a Series 1 chip. And as always with most Windows laptops, there's definitely some annoying bloatware on the Yoga 7i. Like the Lenovo Vantage app definitely has some cool features, but some of them will conflict with Windows's features. You've also got Windows Update and Lenovo Update going. If you download the Intel application as well, that's going to update your drivers, so you'll have 3 different programs all trying to update. There's also this McAfee pre-installed thing that you definitely want to get rid of as soon as you open the laptop. So bloatware remains to be a problem on Windows. Although it's gotten a lot better, it's still there to some degree. So what are my final thoughts about the Yoga 7? Well, it's a great laptop for the price. It's 70 to 80% as good as the 9i, but it's almost half the cost. So it offers a tremendous value in Lenovo's lineup. Also, Lenovo's accidental damage protection and warranty plan is extremely affordable. So I purchased the accidental damage protection and a 2-year warranty plan. It only came to $57 after tax, which is a really good value. You're gonna get damage protection for 2 years plus 2 years of a full warranty plan. So essentially you're getting 1 year of an extended warranty compared to what the manufacturer gives you, and 2 years of accidental damage protection the entire time. So if you drop it, break it, crack the screen, they will actually cover that for you. You will have to ship it into Lenovo, but for under $60, that's a tremendous value and great peace of mind for a laptop that's going to be used on the go. While the 9i is certainly the better machine between the two, it doesn't quite have as good of a battery life as the Yoga 7 because of that faster processor and the OLED screen. It also doesn't have a full-size HDMI port, so there are a couple of trade-offs. I think the real value lies in the Yoga 7 for the majority of people, unless you really want the better performance of the Yoga 9 or the sleeker body is something you prefer. I think most people should go for the Yoga 7. It's got a sleek body, great battery life, nice build quality, and great performance. It's a tough laptop to beat in the Windows space. I've also done a full review on the Yoga 9i. I'll put a link to that, so definitely want to check that out. And let me know if I missed anything about the Yoga 7, and I'll make a short about that. Thanks so much for watching. Please support the channel by liking, subscribing, and leaving a comment, giving me some feedback. I really do love making videos like this and helping you guys out, so it would be greatly appreciated. And see you next time.